Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. At this moment, I will explain about the 7 habits of highly effective people by Stephen R. Covey. Before we start the presentation, I will introduce myself. My name is Farah Wahyuningtias and I am from Civil Engineering International class. So here we go. We go to the first slide. The first slide is the 7 habits of highly effective people. The first one is be proactive and then begin with the end in mind and then put first thing first and then think win-win. And the next is seek first to understand them to be understood. And then the next one is synergies. And the last one is sharpen the saw if you want to keep sewing. We go to the first one. Be proactive. In this chapter, Covey says that many people are reactive. They allow external circumstances to dictate their behavior instead of proactive, uh, taking responsibility for their decisions and behavior instead of blaming the world for your problems or letting the actions of others or even bad weather dictate your mood. You can be a more effective person by focusing on the things that you can actually do something about your circle of influence and not concern yourself with things you can change or influence. You can try this exercise for 30 days for your best effective people. The first one is work only in your smaller circle of influence. The second one is make small commitments to yourself and other and keep them. And the last one is be a light, not a judge. Be a model, not a critic, and be the solution, not the problem. If you stall to think some important problem in your life is out there somewhere, stop yourself. That thought is the problem. And the second one is begin with the end in mind. See yourself going to the funeral of a loved. So when you take an action, you actually do it twice. The first time is when you imagine doing it, and again when you actually doing it in real life. The message here is that if you visualize an action and its desired consequences first, instead of just floating on possibly in the wrong direction, the more likely you are to have success. The third one is put first thing first. We don't manage time. We only I manage ourselves. Said Coffee. This is habit. It's all about prioritization. You need to figure out the things that are most important and always put them first. But how do you work out what is most important? In the right side of the slide, we can see the diagram of the quadrant of important and not important, urgent and not urgent. The first quadrant is important and urgent. The quadrant 2 is important but not urgent. The quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. And the quadrant 4 is not urgent and also not important. Coffee categories text into one of these 4 quadrants. He says to focus on quadrants 2 first. These are things that will have long-term positive impacts and will help you towards your larger goals. The more you focus on this, the fewer texts will eventually appear in quadrant 1, which most people mistakenly believe to be the most important. Of course, you should do tasks in quadrant 1 first, but Covey recommends always working on tasks in quadrant 2 on that side a little each day. And then the next slide is seek first to understand, then to be understood. Covey have said that most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. He clarifies that a part of the time we don't truly tune into individualists, but instead extend our claim, circus- circumstance onto them and accept that what they are considering and feeling are the same. We at that point endorse arrangements to them that don't truly work. Individuals seldom believe the counsel of somebody who they don't feel truly gets it them or the situation. You have to be earnestly tune into others and get interior their outline of reference to get it them, learn people and sincerely. Take note of what they are saying, but to their body they like to induce the complete picture. As it were at that point will individuals begin to truly believe your conclusion and counsel. The next slide is think win-win. You can using the paradigm of win-win requires three traits that are integrity and maturity, and the last one is abundance mentally. Integrity, we define integrity as the value we place on ourselves. We need to be self-aware, possess of an independent will. We make and keep meaningful promises and commitments to ourselves and others. The second one is maturity, typically the adjust between strength and thought. Essentially, but you must have sufficient sympathy and goodwill to work a win for your partner, and enough to form a win to yourself. And the last one is abundance mentality. You must know and accept that there is bounty out there for everybody. Numerous individuals don't they think that to succeed themselves others must fail. They harbor mystery, trust that other individuals must endure incident, not terrible misfortune, but satisfactory incident that will keep them in their boot. The abundance mindset recognizes that conceivable outcomes for development and victory are potentially boundless and sees in every opportunity to complement its own strength. And then this is the next slide. Life is a negotiation. When going into a situation with others, many people seek a win and lose outcome. Every interaction they have, whether at work on their personal lives, in sim as a competition, effective people on the other hand see the benefit in giving everyone a fair share of the pie and fostering positive long-term relationships. Try to approach every situation willing to negotiate until both parties are satisfied. You will see greater returns in the end. This is some advice from me. And then the next one is synergies. Synergy basically means that if you put two things together, the outcome is greater than the combined total of the two separate components. 1 plus 1 can actually equal 3 or more if you work together. When people work together to take challenge using everyone's separate strengths. It's always better than fighting each other and trying to go it alone. For this, you need to understand, trust, and respect each other. The basic of synergy is that two people can disagree and both can be right. It's not logical, it's psychological. I was hired to lead discussion at this annual today planning meeting for top executive of a big insurance company. The usual pattern was to discuss major issues just through a questionnaire. This meeting had been generally respectful exchanges, and on a question they deteriorated into win or lose ego battles. They were usually predictable and boring. This is some example. And then the next one, the last one is sharpen the saw if you want to keep sewing. The seventh habit, the seventh habit is all about self-improvement. Your tools may be adequate for the job, but if you never stop to sharpen them, they will become less and less effective. Covey uses the analogy of lumberjack sawing down trees. If he keeps sawing without stopping to sharpen his saw, eventually it will become blunt and he won't be able to cut down trees anymore. Habit 7 is taking time to sharpen the saw, or you are the saw. If it's the habit that makes all others possible. The next slide is how to sharpen the saw means renewing ourselves in all four aspects of our nature. The first one is physical, and then mental, and the next one is social or emotional, and the last one is spiritual. The physical, you can do it with exercise or nutrition or stress management. So you can this way you can reduce your stress and not be toxic. And the second one is mental. You can doing with reading or visualizing, planning or writing, or you can do it with somebody, some with someone else, or anything that you can make your mental uh, feels more good. And the third one is social or emotional. You can do it with service or empathy, synergy or security. And this last one is spiritual. Uh, uh, of course, we you can do it with spiritual reading, or you can do it with studying and meditation. Meditation is the one of the most of spiritual exercise. And then coffee key message here is that you need to take care of yourself, stay physically fit, maintain your emotional well-being and your mental well-being through expanding your knowledge as well as your social well-being by having good relationships with others. Give yourselves time to recharge instead of working flat out all of the time. And in the long run, you will be a far more effective person. That's all from my explanation. Thank you for your attention and thank you.